Hey, so I've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch now for just over 2 weeks. In fact, today I got my day 16 daily reward, and I've been playing the Little Ants scenario, so I want to show you how I'm completing it. I've still got a couple of days left, so to give you an overview of where I'm at with the game, I'm on level 36. You can see the funds that I've got there, the park value that I've got. A lot of my funds, the 7 million there for the main park coins, a lot of it's gone into Little Ants, and this is where I'm at. You can see I've done enough to get bronze and silver. Gold I'm way short of, and to be honest, I don't think I'm going to get gold, so I'm going to conclude the scenario today and take the silver rewards. Now, there's a few things online already. I've had a look to see ways people have got to that gold medal, which the requirements for are to have 40 rides in the park with over 75% decoration. And probably the more tricky part for some people, I think, is the peep satisfaction of 100%. Now, here's where I'm at. Because I started playing this scenario basically as soon as scenarios were unlocked for me, I don't really have enough cash to actually achieve gold. And that would be one of my criticisms of the scenarios, is that the very first one, without paying lots of real money for additional coins and tickets, I don't think you can realistically complete it. I've put most of my funds that the main park is generating into this Little Ants scenario, and I've been able to get silver, and to be honest, I've made mistakes along the way, and I'll show you those, and I'll show you what I've done to get to silver. It's taken a lot of money, basically, without spending any real money. It's taken a lot of park money. So first things first, I've got the research still running, but I don't really need it, so I'm going to show you what I've got in terms of rides that I can build. And I've got all my rides currently maxed out. So I've got 3 joystick arcades, 3 water guns, 2 basketball, 2 small wheels, 2 on the merry-go-round, 1 helter-skelter, 1 double carousel, and 1 swinging tower. Similar in the family rides, the smaller ones, the fortune teller, hammer game, the whack-a-mole, I've got all 3 that I've upgraded the cards for so far. And I've got 2 shooter academies, 2 surfers, and just 1 space wars, and 1 of each of the 2 thrill rides that are available in this scenario. Now, I did some maths and worked out that basically to get up to the 40 rides, so I've currently got 31 rides in my park, to get up to the 40 that's required for the gold medal, I'm going to have to spend around about another 40 million coins. Now, I'm currently on 7. My main park is generating around 10 to 15 a day, but I've only got 2 days left for the scenario, so I'm probably not going to make it, and then I'm probably going to have to do a bit more than just upgrade the cards and get extra rides to actually hit that 75%. I'm going to have to upgrade some more of my scenery and potentially buy some more shops, restaurants, things like the information desk, which I don't actually have in this park. So I've obviously got a lot of coins to collect there, so I'm quickly going to collect them in, and I'll show you how I achieved the silver and the mistakes I made along the way, because I bought too much foliage. So basically, I laid a lot of things out as I could get them, as my cards researched them in the early stages of the scenario. And once I'd got to 30 rides, I kind of went into the park editor and got rid of everything. So let's go into the park editor. I don't need to be in Blue Iris, I want to be in the park editor. And I actually removed all and rebuilt my entire layout. And I'll show you what I did. So, not the most symmetrical layout, not the nicest layout, not the prettiest layout, but for this it was effective. Now, there's a few small gaps where I could place extra decoration or extra rides, but I've done what I need to for silver. So, I'll show you just first of all where the rides are and the decorations. So what I did, first of all, is I made this little section in the middle here with these trees. These are the maple trees, which I maxed up to, well, I've got up to level 4 at the minute, which means that I can have 20 of those. And they give a 4% bonus within a 7x7 radius. So they're pretty effective. And that's enabled me to place the rides alongside them. So you can see the 2 merry-go-rounds, we have the helter-skelter, the small wheel, we have the swing tower, and in these corners here, some of the smaller rides, a couple more of the smaller rides here. And they're all benefiting from these maple trees. Some of these rides are also benefiting from additional foliage around it, but basically they're all, so these small pines here aren't reaching the rides at the very front of the park, but equally these small pines and these geraniums, and I think I've got blue iris there, are not reaching the ones at the back of the park, but these maples in the middle are reaching pretty much everything, which has really helped me. So I did that. That was my first step, and then as I was able to, I built 2 more smaller sections. One down here with some small pines, I think some more blue iris, some geraniums, helping the rides that I've got in this corner. Oh, I did not want to do that. And the same on this side. Now, some of my mistakes. First of all, the very first thing I did, which wasn't a mistake, and I hugely advise, is to get the service buildings in place. Figure out where they can reach, what your reach is for them, because you're going to need them to get your peep satisfaction and to make sure the rides are durable. So I've got the toilets, the janitor, and the maintenance there. And they're basically covering most of the park, or certainly all of the park that I'm using. Now, if I had my time again, what I would actually do, so I put these, if I put the service buildings in and the decorations, these maple trees I put bang in the middle of the park. And the reason I did that was because if I put them around here, these buildings, I've got a couple of small, I've got 2 information desks which don't quite cover the whole land, but that got me to 75%, which was what was required. That might need moving around to get to 100% satisfaction, but it got me not to 75, sorry, to 85% satisfaction. Now, if I put these maple trees and the other decorations that I've got at level 4% decoration, any further over either way, they'd be affecting these buildings, or rather these buildings would be taking the space that rides could take. However, given the way it's panned out, I think it would have been better for me to move these over and have 2 groups of decoration like these maple trees in that kind of pattern, and probably in the areas below the service buildings. So I'm going to just, I don't want to remove it, I'm just going to quickly move one of these somewhere down here. So if I use this area here, I probably would move the information kiosk out of the way slightly and start building these probably a little bit more like that, somewhere round about there, slightly further up. Now, I would lose a bit of space to the maintenance buildings, but I think I could then be clever about where I place those maintenance buildings to make sure that they're touching any rides that come along the very perimeter of the park. So that's what I would probably do to try and get towards gold, but this is absolutely enough for silver. The problem I've got with gold is I just don't have, and I'm not going to get enough money to upgrade enough cards to level 5 or level 6 to get an extra ride to actually get up to a ride count of 40. That's a lot of upgrades you've got to do on your cards. I've got all of my rides at level 4 or 5. If I want to go any higher, it's going to cost me a lot of money. One of the mistakes I made, you're going to see here, because right now I've completed silver, but I have got a lot of decoration left available to me just in my storage because I've not used it. And what I did in the early part of the scenario, I was so busy trying to buy the decorations as the cards were awarded to me and researched to me that I just started placing them and got a bit carried away with it. And actually, you don't need as much decoration as you think, certainly not to get to silver. You just need a few good decorations maxed out, or at least up to level 4 or 5, and with the maximum number available to you. So I can have 20 small pines or 20 maple trees, 20 geraniums, 20 poppies and blue iris, and that's what I've done. And that's been enough because you can see there, this one's contributing 4% to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 I think rides, maybe more. So if we look at the rides, not that we can see it in Park Editor, but these rides are benefiting from so much decoration around it. They're within reach of so many of my level 4s that I didn't need as many decorations as what I actually bought. So that was certainly a mistake on my part, and possibly the layout could have been a little bit better. If I had the money to get to 40 rides, I think I'd be quite comfortable to be able to remove all, relay and reset my park in a way that I hit the required 75% decoration. But it would need upgrades. It would probably need to upgrade some of my, as well as having enough upgrades to have the 40 rides, it would also probably require some more upgrades on the decorations. So for example, these maple trees, potentially upgrading them to get another decoration bonus, or it wouldn't get a bigger range. If I add a 5% decoration bonus and one ride is benefiting from 20 maple trees, or maybe just 10 maple trees, that's 10%. That's probably where that extra percentage is going to come from, because at the minute, you can see I've just got the 4 rides hitting 75%. If I had 40 rides, I'm confident I could do it with what I've got, but I haven't got the money to get there, as I keep reiterating. The satisfaction would probably become the bit that becomes difficult, because 100% satisfaction is very, very tough. I would obviously have to increase my food outlets, which in turn takes space away from rides and decorations. Probably the ride upgrades would help increase the fun level. I'd possibly need to reduce the prices to make it really cheap, so that they're really happy with the value for money that they get from the rides. And I'd probably need to be a little bit, I'd have to upgrade the information centres enough to make sure that I'm covering more of the park, which again would take space away from actual rides and decorations. So it would be doable, but not this stage of the game for me. And for me, that is a criticism of the scenarios. This is only the first one I've played, and I'm sure others may become not necessarily easier to achieve, but more actually achievable. For me, if you start the scenarios, this first scenario, Little Ants, when scenarios become available for you, when they're unlocked, and you're not spending real money to add to your coin tally, and even that, I'm talking about needing another 50 million, so we'd be paying 30 English pounds, obviously I'm playing in the UK, just to get to that level. There are other ways to get money. You can convert some of your tickets, for example, but 35 tickets would get me 1 million. So again, I could get around about 12 million from all the tickets I've currently got. And for me, in freemium games, that's what they are. They're freemium games. And yes, there's lots of ways you can upgrade, lots of ways you can enhance your gameplay or speed things up by paying physical money. But you should be able to complete things without doing that. And at this stage, when scenarios become unlocked, I don't think that's possible in Little Ants. And I look online, I look at some of the people who have completed Little Ants on the forums and on YouTube, and it's people at level 90 and above, people at level 100. I'm pretty confident if I come back in a few levels' time, because my park is now generating more money than it was 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks of generating that level of money would probably be enough. Plus, in defence of the game, a little bit more strategy from my side, but also I'm still learning the game. I unlocked the scenarios probably 4 or 5 days into playing the game, maybe a week into playing the game. So it's a really tough scenario to start out, and it's a bit of a frustrating one in a lot of ways. I think it could be better. I think the goals could be just slightly more realistic. I will come back and play this at a later level. We'll see how I get on, what I've learnt, how much better I can do. But as a first scenario for people getting used to the game and being introduced to the game, I don't think it's very effective. I think it is forcing you to spend money. And the thing with these kind of games where you're paying real money for in-game currency, they're so much more expensive than a regular game. I'm talking about potentially needing to spend another 30 English pounds to complete one scenario, to get the money that I need to complete just one scenario of the game. Not the main park, not the water park, not any of the other scenarios. Well, £30, to put in context, is probably half of the price that GTA 6 will be if it comes out in the next year or two. So when you buy a game like that, you're paying a large upfront cost, but then everything's free to you. You've already paid for the game. With this, you end up spending a lot more for something which obviously the gameplay is not even comparable to something like a Grand Theft Auto or a FIFA franchise or one of those big sort of games, a Call of Duty kind of game. So for me, that's a kind of criticism of the scenarios. But in conclusion, Little Ants can be done, but you do need a lot of money to do it in the scenarios, and the rewards I don't think are even really worth it. For example, I'm on Silver. Yeah, I'm going to get 2,000 more experience, which, for where I am now, would be a lot of experience if I went to Gold. Fair enough. Sorry, let me press the right buttons. But 100 tickets, well, I've already got 400 and I've spent quite a few tickets. It's not that much in terms of the game. One ride, not that much in terms of the game. And the 7 million coins for the water park, well, you get 2 million just for watching an advert every 6 hours. So I could get that in a day. In fact, 2 million every 6 hours, yeah, I could get that in one day just by watching 3 adverts, not spending 2 weeks investing a lot of game money into the scenario. So not a big fan of the scenario and the gameplay of the scenarios. However, of course, I want to complete the scenarios. So what I'm going to do now is claim my silver reward. I'll come back to try and get the gold later on. And what I'm probably going to do is play the game and just focus my money and the money that I get back out of this scenario, because I'm going to get half of what I've spent back. I'm going to focus that now on the park itself, the main park itself, just to generate some more revenue, make sure I'm getting more coming in every day than I currently am, so that I can tackle these scenarios with a little bit more confidence that I will be able to actually get to the gold level. I have thought about not claiming the money yet, waiting 2 more days just to claim what this park brings me in revenue, but to be honest, my daily revenue within this park isn't a huge amount. In fact, my best revenue is coming from the research, which I probably shouldn't have started this research, or I may watch the advert and then come back in 3 hours to complete the scenario, because what I'm finding now is because I've got all of the cards, and in some cases maxed out the cards available from the research in this scenario, it actually gives you a cash value. So if I pay 10,000 coins for an 8-hour research and 30 cards, I've been getting 40 or 50,000 back from that, because I've maxed out the number of cards I can have for that particular ride or building type. So that's actually where I'm getting most of the money. So for me, I'd rather take the money out of the park, invest it into my main park, and start bringing my revenues up in there quicker, so I can then complete the next scenarios and eventually come back around to this and try and tackle gold. So there we go. Level 36, I'm cashing out at silver. Gold, it's doable, but you don't want to waste too much money in this scenario, and you're going to have to invest most of your money that you're generating in the game into the scenario, and maybe just put your main park on pause. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to come back to the main park, do a lot more work on the main park, and pause the scenarios and start my next scenario probably when I'm at least at level 40, if not above 50. So I'm now going to claim the rewards, and to be fair, one thing that's not immediately clear is if I claim bronze, does that stop me carrying on for silver? So if I cash out now, is that me done, or can I actually carry on and try and get gold in these last 2 days? I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but I'm about to find out. It does tell me now. So to be fair, it is clear before you actually cash out. So, yep, time to cash out. So let's see what I get. The game is thinking about it for me. So there we go. We've got, only 2 million back in coins. I thought I'd be getting a lot more than that, because I thought I got half of what you invested, but clearly it's half of what the rides cost and not what the upgrades cost. So that's also disappointing, because I think I'd misunderstood that. When you cash out and you get half of what you've paid for the rides, I presumed that would include the upgrades. It very clearly doesn't. And that's the other thing, you're upgrading rides, possibly to level 4 or level 5, spending a lot of money on doing that, and then they're gone. You can't move them into your main park. So that's also a criticism. I think that would be useful if you could transfer between the main park and the scenario park, but certainly more realistic targets and much better rewards, because these are fairly lousy rewards for the amount of coins that have been put into the scenario. So I'm going to claim them anyway. We'll see what rides I get. Hopefully it's at least some rare or epic cards. I'll be really disappointed if this is a couple of common ones. The game is really thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to find out. The one thing it does do, and I'll see the impact on this, the park rating jumps by a huge amount. The company rating, the company value, is really based on the scenarios, and I'm hoping that's going to help me receive more cash for other things in the game, things like the mini games and finding the entertainers. I noticed the value that you get from them increases with time. I'm hoping it increases with company value, because then the scenarios become very valuable indeed. So yeah, that seemed to not actually tell me what cards I've got, so I'm going to load the main park and see if I get the cards when I go into it, but otherwise maybe cards have just appeared in my deck somewhere. But that's it, that's Little Ants. I hope I've not bored you too much with too much talking and too much conversation over that. And there we go, it's ride skins that I've earned, not rides itself, so let's see what I get. We get a classic skin for Fortune Teller and the Western skin for the pirate ship, so cool. Thanks for that. They're nice to have, and I've actually got a little reward for that as well because I've opened 2 card packs. So there we go, Little Ants complete. You've also got a quick glance into my current park, although you can't see a lot for all the coins that I now need to collect. And I think my next task now is to remove everything in this park and rebuild it in a more strategic way, because so far I've just been placing everything as I kind of could in the first few weeks of the game. So my next video is going to be me redesigning my park. I hope you can join me for it.